Welcome everybody to the Mental Health Monologues Youth Edition. We are so grateful that you're here. Wow, we're up to 54 participants already. I think we have over 100 scheduled to join us tonight. We're just so grateful to be here together in honor of Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. This event is all to support the Youth Mental Health Project, an organization that is near and dear to my heart. My name is Lori Braun, and I work with the Youth Mental Health Project, both as a professional and as a volunteer. So as a professional, I lead workshops like this one, educational programs, and interactive workshops. And as a volunteer, I co-lead and co-facilitate parent support groups. One of the many, many things we do to support youth mental health is we bring parents together for free support groups. Any parent anywhere in the country, and in fact the world, who has any concerns about their child's mental health is invited to our free support groups. Some, all in the past were in person, and now the majority of our groups are online and available virtually. In addition to that, at our website, which we'll post in the chat, you can find many of our programs are all about support, advocacy, and education to elevate youth mental health, awareness of youth mental health, and to help people understand that we all have mental health. It's not that I'm mentally ill or mentally well, but our mental health exists on a continuum, just like our physical health does. And we at the Youth Mental Health Project work very hard every day to help raise awareness of that, to help people have access to resources, and most importantly, to help people understand that our children have mental health as well. And their mental health deserves attention and support and love. And because of that, an amazing team of volunteers came together to create this evening's event, the Mental Health Monologues Youth Edition. I want to thank every single child and teenager who submitted a story of their own, to tell their own story of their own struggle or triumph or both with mental health challenges. We also have a group of young actors who have varying degrees of experience with professional acting, and they have volunteered their time to perform these pieces. So when you watch the film, you'll see every piece is prefaced with a film slide that tells you the first name of the writer and the first name of the performer. Our performers wanted me to be very clear that they are not telling their own stories, they're telling the story of another child. And very importantly, the film itself is only half of our evening. The film will be about 35 minutes. And afterwards, we really hope you'll stay on for an even more important part of the evening, really, which is unpacking what we saw and inviting 3 of our young people, writers and actors, to talk about their experiences writing these pieces and sharing them with others. I'm trying to see if I forgot anything. I want to make sure I really thank everyone who was part of this project, our incredible team of volunteers. I want to thank our executive director and founder, Randy Silverman, an amazing human who started this organization in her living room by opening her door and saying, we've got to bring parents together to talk about this. No parent should be struggling alone with concerns about their child's mental health. From those meetings evolved this incredible not-for-profit organization. I want to say that everything we offer is free. Our resources on our website, our parent support groups, the webinar we are offering today, and in fact, we're offering programs all week long in honor of Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. You should look at our website and register for as many as you like. All these programs depend on the support of donors and advocates like you. So we invite you, as you watch the monologues, as you listen to the panel discussion afterwards, to please make a donation of any amount. We're very grateful for any support you can offer so that we can continue to do the support that we do to raise the voices of children, teens, and families in support of mental health. Let's see, I have a few instructions for you, the audience, before we begin. First of all, I already mentioned a reminder to stay on after the film for a Q&A. I already said that our actors and writers are different people, so you'll know, with the exception of one of our very brave actors who is writing and performing her own piece, everyone else is performing a piece that was submitted by an anonymous child or teenager. Oh, importantly, we filmed this during COVID. And as I said, everyone involved was a volunteer. So we didn't work with professional videographers and filmmakers. We worked with passionate people who care about youth mental health. It means you're going to see, hopefully, a really beautiful and meaningful film, but there may be a technical glitch or two. We, of course, we're using Zoom. We have 10 actors performing 13 pieces from their bedrooms, from their school, from outside. We hope you'll be able to hear and see as well as possible. If you have any difficulty with the audio, we are going to put every single monologue in the chat so that you can read the monologue as you listen to the performer perform it. So we hope you won't miss any of the meaningful words. And finally, in the chat, share any questions, concerns. Some of the pieces are really hard and difficult. You know, watching a 9-year-old struggle with time in the hospital, not an easy piece to watch. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, put that in the chat as well. All feelings are welcome here. We do end the piece on a really hopeful note, and the Q&A is particularly important for you to stay so we can share some of our hopeful thoughts and messages for the future. Thank you all so much for being here. I see 82 participants, and I know there are more to come. Welcome, and sit back and find meaning in the Mental Health Monologues Youth Edition.
Sometimes I wish that I looked completely different. I spend hours every day staring at the mirror, feeling really sad and angry. Seeing people in public is also a challenge. Sometimes I want to hide and I don't want to be seen. I wish that I looked good enough to feel confident in public. I spend so much time every day trying to camouflage all of the bad things about my appearance and trying to hide the things that I don't like about myself. But no matter how much I try, I'm never happy. It makes me feel alone and different. I know that I can't always hide and that people are going to see me eventually, but I don't think that I will ever feel confident about my appearance. My parents don't understand how I feel at all. They say, "You look fine," and they pretend that I look all right, but I know that I don't. Seeing people online is very different. I only have to show my face, and I can also put filters on my face to change it. I can cover up part of my face with certain things so that people don't see as much of me. I hide the top of my head or the sides of my head, and I still don't necessarily feel confident. Unfortunately, when I go back to school again in person and start seeing people in real life, I won't be able to hide parts of my face. But I'm not nearly as concerned about people seeing my face as I am about them seeing my body. I just want to change so bad, and I know that I will change in certain ways as I get older, but there are some things that will never change, which really hurts me. I don't think that I'm capable of being confident with the way that I look, and I'm worried that people are going to make fun of me for my appearance and my personality. I wish that I could be completely different. I want to change.
I can't believe you won't let me go back to class until I write you this letter. You want to know why I am the way I am? Here's your stupid letter. Dear Dr. Stein, why am I like this? Why do I feel so different from everyone else? Everyone seems like they understand life, the way you're supposed to be and feel and act, but I never know. I think I'm missing something. Some kind of inner guide that tells you what to say and do, how to be with people, how to be in the world. Sometimes I feel like I don't even know how to stand. Should I lean on one leg, stand straight, slouch, or how I should speak, when to say something and what to say? There are just too many things to always keep up with. It's all so confusing. I wish there were a guide that would just tell me how to be. They could be like a little voice in my head that gave directions throughout the day. They could help me be normal and fit in. I want so badly to just be normal, but I don't even really know what that means. Maybe there is no real normal anyway. Maybe we're all weird in our own ways. Or different. I guess we're simply different, not weird. Then again, maybe weird is good. I don't know. From your least favorite student. Can I go back to class now?
When I try to be myself, I don't know who I am. When I try to be someone else, I'm not as good as them. When I try to reach inside myself and find the real me, it's hard. It's hard because the door is locked and I cannot find the key. When some people like me one way, but not when I'm on another, I do not know which way to be. One way or the other. It's all so hard. It makes me cry. Why can I just fit in? I am so bad, or ugly, or dumb. Why can't I ever win? When they say that we should be ourselves. It's what inside that counts. But the kids don't look inside a lot. And I'm filled with doubts. One day I hope to find myself to be the real me. But until that far off day comes near to live this way.
Dear classmates, I wish I had the words to tell you how I feel. When anxiety comes, it doesn't go away and I'm stuck with this monster inside my head. It tries to keep me all to itself, never letting me out of its sight. It keeps me from talking to others, staying like a tight little ball in my own separate world, isolating me so that I shrink back from contact with others. I'm alone. I don't care. But I do care. I don't want to be alone. I want to be outgoing and friendly and get together with friends. I want to wear the smiles that others wear when they walk together in pairs or small groups, laughing together. Life must be so fun when you're a part of the group. But I'm always apart, watching, waiting, from the outside, looking in, wanting to belong to someone other than the monster, but it holds on tight and won't let me go. Won't you reach out to me? Won't you take my hand and talk to me and smile at me? Won't you ask me my opinion and ask me to join you? I wish I could make the first move, but the monster won't let me. But if you did, he'd have to let go just a little bit. And that would make a world of a difference. It would break his hold on me, just a crack. And that crack would grow until you and I were talking, walking, laughing, making plans together, going places so that we'd have memories to talk about later. And that monster would lose his power a little more each day until eventually he'd leave, knowing that he couldn't control me any longer. So please reach out to me, even if it seems like I don't want you to. I want you to.
I'm so sorry I'm late for therapy. My tutor ran late, and I got picked up late from tennis. And then I didn't have any time to do my homework. This happens to me all the time. You ask me what it feels like when I panic? It feels exactly like this. I start to tremble as I hold my heart, feeling sick, nauseous, dizzy. On the outside, I seem perfect, but little do you know, I'm a mess inside. I watch as my limbs give out, each one going numb after the next, wanting to scream, cry, yell, while I slowly start to fall apart, counting the seconds until it's over. But 1 minute feels like forever, and 2 feels like an eternity. I can barely stand as the blood courses through my veins, trying to breathe. In, out, in, out. While my emotions get the best of me, the sweat is thick on my skin, but still, I tell myself that it's okay. I think peaceful thoughts and use them to calm myself down. I think of unicorns, rainbows, fairies, anything magical to take my mind to an innocent place. Do you know what I mean? Places only Dr. Seuss himself would write about. I love it there. I start to feel better, gradually getting mobility back in my body, waiting for the hour, minute, second to feel the relief. My body is tired and I'm mentally drained. But finally, the panic attack is over.
Stuck in between loving and hating you, my best friend and my worst enemy, the same person. Loving the side that makes me the happiest, but hating the side that makes me the saddest. The power you hold over my emotions, depending on the way you treat me, whether you wake up on the wrong side of the bed or decide to show love to the person that loved you the most, the friend that was always there, always. Days go by and I don't hear from you, but I hear the things you say about me, the rumors you spread, the lies you tell. So bogus, so twisted, so tweaked. The art you have mastered and the face you put on, you're so good at saying just the right things, but you don't mean it. I know it. You know it. We all do. So why? Why say all the right things if you don't mean it? The lies in your eyes, the power of manipulation, the advantage that you take of the love that I have for the girl I used to know. The girl I no longer see when I look at you. A stranger is what I see. The person I know and loved is gone, nowhere to be found. Is she ever coming back? Probably not. But what happens now? You're just a girl to me now, somebody that I used to know. But the history we have, history like no other, the laughs, the cries, the adventures. My life was good because you were in it, a different version of you, the one that is no longer present in my life. But I didn't go anywhere. I stood by you for the entire journey, even when others told me not to. I tried so hard, but you didn't accept my help. So exhausting, forcing something, a relationship that was inevitable to end. Even though your old self is gone, the friendship gone, the memories remain. The love I have for the old you remains. The pain remains. Pain that was caused by you. Sadness caused by the memories that are no longer my reality. I love the person that is gone. I hate the person that you have become.
Dear diary, I don't belong here. I know I don't belong here. Please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. That's all I kept whispering when my mom and dad left without me. At this place I've never been before. It feels like time has stopped. I don't really know where I am. I know it's a therapeutic school and we flew across the country to get here, but I don't know where I am. I only found out I was coming here 2 days ago. When mom and dad told me, I was shocked and not shocked at the same time. I don't know why I act the way I do, why I have tantrums like a little kid, why I refuse to go to school, why I don't talk to anyone anymore. My parents try to understand me, but they can't because I don't even understand myself. All I know is that the only time I feel okay is when I sit alone in my room and read. Just read anything. Fiction, fantasy, mystery, anything that can take me away from my own life. The yelling in my house, the rushing at my school, the singing of my little sister. Anything to take me away from the noise. Just anything. My parents say I was a happy little kid. But I don't remember a time when I didn't feel this way. That I wished I could live in a book instead of real life. I wished I could live in a quiet family in a quiet town where I could do everything just right, where there was no one to judge me. Now I got what I wished for. I'm finally away from the noise. And I still wish I could live in a book.
I know that you're both really upset that I skipped school to go shoplifting. I'm upset too, about everything. The police made me write an apology to you, or else they said that they would press charges. I was kind of embarrassed to write this, but you know what? It feels really good to just tell the truth, finally. Okay, so this is what I wrote. Dear Mom and Dad, I'm sorry. I know I keep finding myself in the same situation. I know that I keep messing up and say that I'll change, but never actually do. I know that everyone's worried about me. I'm really trying to figure out why I keep doing the things that I do. I don't want to keep fighting with you, but I'm angry all the time. And it feels like it's out of my control. I'm angry that I have no friends. Making friends is hard for me, and keeping them as friends is even harder. I can see how having a liar for a friend is difficult. And the truth is, I am a liar. I lie because I'm insecure. I lie when I'm uncomfortable. I lie to try and fit in. Sometimes I lie to get out of other lies. Some of my lies start out small and seem harmless, but then they grow and all of a sudden they're out of my control. I lie because it's easier than being honest. If I'm honest, I'd have to admit how scared I am. First, I need to stop lying to myself. I'm working on this. I'm realizing slowly that the person I'm hurting the most with my dishonesty is myself. I love you, and I want you to trust me. Please, don't give up on me.
What did it feel like when I went into the hospital? I went into the hospital with frozen ground inside. I used all my body parts to build a wall inside me that only good people and people I love can get through. The mean boy from class was kicking the wall hard before it was finished. but I got the wall done. It's very long and it's very hard to get through. Sometimes, though, I feel like it keeps me too far away from people, and I don't know how to get closer. It's too scary. I went into the hospital with frozen ground inside. Then I found a wall filled with all different kinds of shovels, and I had to find exactly the right kind of shovel to dig up my frozen ground. I found it, I used it, and I dug and dug until every bit of dirt covering my love fell off. And now I feel all of it. I want to keep it that way, so I keep feeling my love. But I'm not sure how. I went into the hospital with frozen ground inside. I left the hospital knowing that I didn't want that ground to freeze ever again.
Go for it, she says. You think, what the hell? Mom does this all the time. $20 is nothing. But then you think what your mom will say when you get home. What will she think? You'll embarrass yourself, you think. You'll stow it away with the other clutter. Well, at least I'll have it, you decide resolutely. So you ask for one of the flags. Which one? The bisexual one? Okay, they say, going off as the guilt for your question and the awkwardness of waiting sets in. Many thousands of thoughts go through your head as you wait, but later he comes back, saying, sorry, we're out of stock. But a new shipment of flags is coming next week. You say you'll be there, and after taking one last glance at the amazing books on display, you take your umbrella out, and before coming out of the door, you say goodbye. And they say, thanks for stopping by, like the employees are probably told to do. You can't help being deceived. But as you walk on, you think, you always deceive yourself. You imagine the parade of people wrapped in flags, emanating an atmosphere of happiness. On the sidewalk, your teacher in the same one as you, her hair pink-purple like the last time you saw her. Her happiness at seeing you here, pleasantly surprised, and you smirk and smile at your newfound commonality. You are surrounded by other bi people, and you feel at home, away from the peskiness of reality, but in the surreal fulfillment of golden dreams. Not today, you think, as you walk while steadily approaching Broad Street.
I am black. The color of my skin is not my weakness or my weapon. You hold a gun to my head. I cry and beg. It refused to listen. When I scream, you can't hear me. Why do I terrify you? Why do you turn away in disgust? Why do you ignore my cries? Why do you think that I will sit still and accept abuse? Why do you think that I will let you make me a criminal? The color of my skin should not terrify you. The color of my skin does not make me any less worthy than you. I am black and proud to be black. I was born with the night sky in my body. I was born rising like a phoenix from the fertile fields that feed us. I was born as black as the purest pearl. I was born to rise above strife and grief. The color of my skin is not a curse. When will you finally listen? When will we finally listen? Our children can't run the streets because they are told they will get shot, not just by the police, but also by people the same color as them. We have let ourselves become the embodiment of the stereotypes that are placed against us. We have let ourselves be pushed down by an unjust system. Tell me, why is that? Why can't our children play in the streets? Why must we fear each other? The hits we give little infants destroys their future. My baby sister is black. Does she not deserve a future filled with love instead of hate?
I put an unnecessary amount of effort into everything I do, and I can't help but question the purpose of it all. What am I working so hard for? Like to get into college, to get a job, doing the exact same thing every single day of my life? To get married, to make money? And then what? I'm just I'm just checking off the days in my calendar, running a marathon with no finish line. It's the difference between being who we are and what we're supposed to be. Plastics. That is what our lives have become. Fake it till you make it, right? But why must we wrap ourselves in these plastic veneers? I feel like a birthday balloon tied to a gift-shaped weight. Here I am living in this plastic life, being chained down to earth, full of nothing but air. But tear away the plastic, and my hollow insides are filled with golden light. Tear away the plastic, and I will fly. Tear away the plastic, and maybe checking off the days of my calendar won't be such a bad thing. I'll be drained of air and filled with gold. Finally, able to live one day at a time.
Dear 14-year-old Kayla, if only you could see yourself through my eyes. Today, you get discharged from the mental health clinic in Houston, Texas. You are counting down the minutes until you see your dad walk into the OCD children's unit, and you get to walk out those double doors and get on that plane from Texas to New York. Today, you wake up and all you can think about is that you are going home You get to hug your sister, snuggle your dog Bear, eat your mom's big ziti, and maybe, because you haven't been home in 4 months, get to choose what the fam bam watches on TV. You know that it is going to be an adjustment, and there is still so much internal work to be done. You know that although you are getting discharged, there are parts of you that won't be left behind in Texas. Your obsessive compulsive disorder and anxiety will follow you throughout life. Right now, that seems really daunting. Will these parts of you that you have worked so hard to keep at bay be at your high school graduation? Will they be with you in college? What about grad school? Yes, Kayla, you do, in fact, go to grad school. What about first dates? Your first boyfriend? Will these parts of you be apparent to the new friends you make? Will they think less of you if they learn there is more to you than meets the eye? That you are an abstract human who has been through some shit and come out the other side stronger? What about your first job and your second job? Or better yet, your third job? Will your OCD and anxiety still be prevalent in your life at that point? What about when you get married, or that board certification you worked so hard for? Well, Kayla, the answer is yes. Your OCD and anxiety will not be left behind in Texas. It is a part of you, just like the freckles on your face that come out in the sun. It's what you do with these diagnoses that set you apart from others. It will be prevalent at all your graduations in different ways, as well as first dates, boyfriends, and new friendships. And guess what? It will be prevalent on your wedding day too. But you realize you wouldn't want it any other way, because these parts of you aren't bad. You spent so long trying to define your OCD and anxiety as bad. You weren't able to realize that in all bad things and hard times, all you had to do was open up your eyes to find the silver linings. You have to find the good, not just in yourself, but in the world around you. And damn, girl, you've become really good at finding the good. See those butterflies in your stomach when the uncertainty sets in? You will be able to see the beauty in it. You will realize how lucky you are to be able to manage these moments. And those specific moments are what remind you that you are alive. Yes, there will be days that are hard, but you, my dear, are resilient. You have already been through more than what most 30-year-olds are through at age 14. So please just do one thing for me before you walk out those double doors in the rush that you are in. Slow down. Take it all in. Appreciate what you have been through, but also realize the work that will always need to be done. Remember the people who helped you in your toughest hours. The staff members who didn't give up on you when you were ready to give up on yourself. Remember the tears, but also remember the laughter. Remember the smiles you brought to the clinical team's faces when you sang at your behavior planning meetings. Think about nighttime when you would leave your room to get warm milk to help you sleep, but it wasn't plain milk. It was chocolate, which defeated the purpose. Remember who you are right now. Hold on to that moment, because it goes by in the blink of an eye. And remember, no matter how much changes in life, this moment will help shape you into a person you couldn't even fathom at the age of 14. And 14-year-old Kayla, you will be so damn proud of that person you have become. Love, 28-year-old Kayla.
Slow down.
You are resilient.
Remember who you are.
You will be so proud of the person you have become.
So proud.
So proud.
So proud.
Please, don't give up on me.
Please don't give up on me.
Please, don't give up on me.
Welcome back, everyone. I'll give you a minute to digest all of that. I know it's a lot to take in, and I thank our children and our teens for telling their stories and our performers for sharing them so meaningfully. The most important part of our evening is now, when we get to invite 3 of our participants to really talk about their own stories. So in a moment, our producer, Lisa, is going to switch our 3 panelists, Safwa, Kayla, and Elizabeth, from webinar participants to panelists, and they'll join us for a discussion. In the meantime, while we get that tech piece sorted out, here they come. I just want to thank our audience so much for being here and for supporting all the work of the Youth Mental Health Project. Reminder that you can make a donation through the links that are in the chat, through the text that you saw on the screen, and really all week long for Children's Mental Health Awareness Week, and all year long. We're here supporting families, so we're grateful for any amount you can give to support our work. And I see Kayla, Elizabeth, and we are waiting for just one more, Safwa, who I see her hand is raised, but I don't see her face. I will check in with our tech director. Safwa, since I don't see you, I wonder if you can log back on through the panelist link. And in the meantime, we'll get started. Oh, Safwa, I clicked on the link to be a panelist. Let's see. But it is making me stay as an attendee. Okay. Safwa, did you, oh, there you are, hallelujah. So I'll tell you, in my professional life, in addition to working with the Youth Mental Health Project, I'm also a rabbi. And so I'm used to working in person with families and young adults. So the tech piece is my greatest fear, as in Safwa just doesn't show up. So I'm very happy that you're here. Thank you, all 3 of you. And oh, and there we go. I see us forming there we go. Now we're the Brady Bunch. Audience members, I just have to tell you, I love each of these women on the screen so much. 2 of them I've known for quite some years through my daughter who introduced me to them. And the 3rd I met through this project. And all 3 of them just have such extraordinary souls and stories and spirits. And I'm grateful to each of them, not just for being part of the project, but also for agreeing to stay on and to answer some questions for us. I'll share with the audience, we would love you to add your own questions and comments into the chat. But we do have some prepared questions to ask our panelists. And they've even agreed to do future webinars with us, so that we know we don't have a lot of time tonight, but we hope that you'll continue to ask questions in the chat and that we can have follow-up webinars with them as well. One more thing to say before we start our first question. I am aware that it's 7:45 and we promised you we'd end at 8. Our panelists did tell me that if we needed to go over by a few minutes, that's okay with them. But I do want to let the audience know, I know you have prepared to stay till 8. If you can stay on a few more minutes, you are welcome to. If you have to leave at 8, we understand. And we also want to say that this will all be available on the Youth Mental Health Project website. The film itself will be available indefinitely. So if you want to review it or share it with others or use it as a tool to encourage the kids in your life to tell their stories, please do. So my first question for our panelists is, what was this like to watch yourselves perform and see your pieces performed? And especially for Safwa, who performed Kayla's piece, what is it like now to be on this panel and to meet the real Kayla, whose piece, Dear 14-Year-Old Kayla, you performed? So Safwa.
Yeah, to be quite honest, it was just like an honor. It was like, oh, this is so cool that I get to tell this person's story that's so important. So I just feel really grateful to have been given that opportunity, because there's so much of that story that I also identify with. But it's like, yeah, it really is just like an honor for me.
Amazing. Thank you. And thank you for performing 2 pieces. Audience, if you noticed, there were a few of our actors who performed more than one. And you really brought them so much to life. Thank you so much. Kayla, same question. What was it like to watch?
Hi. So I was lucky enough to get to watch that piece last night, because I have a feeling, and Lori had told me if I had watched it the first time tonight, it would have been very emotional. And I'm definitely a big talker, but that piece itself really left me pretty speechless. Being able to watch someone else take your words and tell your truth so eloquently, it's a gift. I'm incredibly thankful, incredibly.
Thank you. And I just want to say, Kayla, you gave us a gift as well. Even in the tool you presented of writing a letter to your younger self is something at the end of our evening I'm going to encourage every child watching and every adult watching to do, and to encourage their child to do, because we forget that we change and evolve and need a pep talk even from ourselves. So thank you. Elizabeth, you are one artist who was brave enough to both write your own piece and perform it. Thank you for bringing your multiple varied talents to this project. What was it like to watch yourself?
I have to say it was almost surreal watching myself perform that piece, because I wrote it like 2-3 years ago, and the me that wrote it would never perform it like in that time. So see myself perform it here and all come together was an emotional moment for me, honestly, because I was like, it was proof of the growth that I've had since I wrote that piece, and it felt pretty good to watch myself perform that, actually.
That's amazing. I just want to process what you said, that the me who wrote that piece would never have had the courage to perform that piece. So it was, I think, the 9th grade you who wrote it.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth is now a 12th grader, about to go on to college. So what an amazing thing to watch yourself grow in that way too. It's probably similar to the experience Kayla has, watching her 14-year-old self and looking at her from that perspective. Thank you. I want to ask the next question just to our 2 writers, Kayla and Elizabeth, and we'll start with Kayla. The question is, what gave you the courage to tell your story? And what advice or words of wisdom do you have for the kids and teenagers watching today who may not yet have the courage to share their own story, but may be struggling?
So for me, I guess, I mean, I've had some time to process my story, but I think looking back, once I was first discharged from the hospital, it was hard. I didn't want to tell my story. I was nervous, as you can tell, to say my truth of who I was. I was nervous that people would think of me differently, that people wouldn't want to be my friend. And, you know, it I was bullied growing up. So I was obviously scared. But as I grew up a little bit more and more and continued to push through the hard times, I realized that I really wasn't alone. And there were so many other people who were also struggling. And for lack of better words, I just stopped giving a crap about what people thought of me, because I knew there was so much more to meet the eye, in that my story made me different and made me strong. And if me speaking up and saying what it was like to go through something so emotional at such a young age and come out the other side could just help one singular person, then it was worth it for me. It was worth it, and it continues to be worth it. And what was the other question?
Oh, well, it was, what would you say to give kids the courage to tell their own stories? But I want to highlight something you said, this idea of not giving a bleep anymore. I think that's part of what gives you courage, right?
Yeah.
When you say, I'm going to let go of what others think.
There's just a point
I'm going to
where
be
you
me.
just gotta, because if you like keep pushing those parts of yourself down, you're not doing anybody a service by doing that, right? Like, there's so many different things I can share that can help others. And if I kept that to myself, who am I helping? So if I can share my story and say it loud and proud from the rooftops, I'll do it any day.
Amazing, amazing. And we're taking Kayla up on that. She'll be back for a future webinar. Thank you. And Elizabeth, what do you have to say on that front about courage, which clearly you have a lot of and have developed in from grade 9 to grade 12?
I would say, so for me, I would say that courage comes from being vulnerable, especially because
being vulnerable. Beautiful.
Yeah, because ninth grade me refused to be vulnerable, refused to cry, refused to show emotions in front of anybody else. But now I do have a routine. I cry every Thursday night when my two first-born parents are on duty. It's like a routine I have set in place now.
Wait, time out. Elizabeth is telling us that she cries every Thursday night. Does that mean if you feel like crying Wednesday, you hold off?
Oh, no. Wednesday, like every day of the week, I let myself cry once for like 5 minutes, But Thursday nights are the big nights where like you release all the emotions, all the stress, everything just pours out of you Thursday nights. And I would say being courageous doesn't mean closing yourself off. It doesn't mean putting like a brave face for anybody else. Having courage means letting yourself be open to people, letting yourself be open to being hurt sometimes. Having courage means allowing yourself to feel feelings that might make you feel so bad in that moment. But later on, you feel so amazing because you let yourself feel those feelings. And honestly, that's what I would say being brave is about. And if you're like finding it hard to let yourself be brave, let yourself tell your story to anybody else, remember that the person that sees what you feel like is very, very, very similar to how you're feeling right now. And your family, your friends, your teachers have felt that way at some point. So you are not alone in that feeling, not alone in that feeling of like self-despair, of anxiety. You are not alone in that. Let yourself be brave. Let yourself tell somebody about your story because it really definitely help you.
Beautiful. I want to put everything you both said on a t-shirt. And I see people writing in the chat that you are so brave, feel your feelings, let it out. And Safwa, I don't want to not let you answer this question just because you didn't share a personal piece. Do you have anything to share about bravery, courage? What helps you be brave? I know as a performer, Safwa was a first-year college student in acting, and I know her personally, and I know how brave and how much courage it takes to tell vulnerable stories. So anything you want to say about having the courage to tell your story?
I think for me, it comes down to the fact that I do it because I want to impact others, and knowing, okay, if I tell someone else's story or my own story, whatever story it is, even though it might be really uncomfortable and make me really vulnerable and expose me, if I know that it's going to make someone else feel something, then I've done my job. And that's kind of what keeps me going. That's why I do what I do. And that's why I'm here, is because I feel like my purpose is to impact others by the work and the words that I say.
Beautiful. You are all so inspiring. I see comments in the chat. Absolutely beautiful. You are amazing. You are all wonderful humans. And we all feel it. You are really extraordinary because of who you are, and also because you're willing to speak out and tell your stories. And I want to pause for a moment before asking the next question, to honor 3 other young women who were part of our project. They were 3 young actors who came to us, to the Youth Mental Health Project, with their own project, which they called the Go Beyond Project. They developed it in their 8th grade community during COVID because they wanted to help kids with the mental health issues they were facing during COVID. They made these beautiful sweatshirts. They created the name Go Beyond with the idea that we should go beyond just saying, hey, how are you? And ask for real, how are you doing? How can we help each other? And they wanted to give the money they raised to an organization that supported youth mental health. And voila, who did they find but us, the Youth Mental Health Project. So I want to give a shout out to those 3 young women. And also, I don't know the exact link to their site, but they can put it in the chat if they would like. Penelope, Ava, and Lila, I just want to thank you by name for all you're doing for the Youth Mental Health Project. And we have 2 questions left. I see it's almost 8 o'clock. So audience members who have to leave, we understand. Those of you who are able to stay, we're gonna say goodbye at about 8:10. So if you have an extra 10 minutes to stay with us, I have 2 more questions to ask these young women. Please continue to put your questions and comments in the chat because we will have follow-up webinars and be able to ask some more of your questions then. So question 3 is, what would you like the parents and the other adults, the teachers, the counselors who are in our audience today to know? And we'll start this one with Safwa.
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing is just be there and listen. I know there's this impulse sometimes that, oh my God, we have to like fix this. Something bad is happening. I have to fix it. And I get that. Like, I also struggled with mental health, and that's what my parents felt like they had to do too. But sometimes all you really need is someone to just say, I'm here for you. I'm listening if you need anything, and just allowing space for you to exist as you are. So I think that's like the biggest thing is just being there and listening and seeing what your kid needs.
Beautiful. I actually want to respond to that as a parent because I thought, you know, I'm a rabbi. I grew up with a mom who's a psychologist. I know how to help my kids feel their feelings. And lo and behold, I too was guilty. When I saw my kid in pain, I would grab a stuffed animal and say, it's okay, Pinky's here. And you know what? Parents, these young women are here to tell you that's not the way to do it. They don't want you to fix it. They don't want you to stop them from crying. They want you to say, it's okay, let it out. I'm here with you. Cry as long as you need to. If you haven't seen the film Inside Out, there's some beautiful scenes in there that demonstrate that. But thank you for putting that into words for us, Safwa. And same question for Kayla. What would you like to say to the parents here?
I just want to point out your daughter's in the chat saying
and just wrote, I am the child being talked about. Daughter, I hope I've made some improvements along the way. And parents, we too can learn and grow and develop. And in fact, shout out to the Youth Mental Health Project. This is why we have the Parent Support Network. So we can talk to each other and help each other and know we're not alone in raising our children and helping raise human beings who know that their mental health is important. So thanks, Kayla.
No problem. So what would I say to parents? So I think it's really interesting for me, this question, because I am extremely lucky. My parents, my family were and continue to be extremely supportive. And they are my rock, and they are actually blowing up my phone right now. So please stop. I'm calling them out because they're right there. But I'm really lucky, and I know that not all kids have that. they don't have parents who are as supportive and are there. And I know that I'm lucky in that aspect. But looking back now as an adult, realizing also that although this is my story, they went through something hard too, right? Like, I wasn't okay, and I can't even imagine what it was like for my parents watching me not be okay. And I feel like that's something I'll never understand. And I just wish that there was something like the Youth Mental Health Project for them, to be able to find people who were going through something very similar, or just someone to talk to. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you are a parent that is struggling, even if it's not the Youth Mental Health Project, it's okay for you not to be okay as well, right?
That's
Just
right.
because your kids having difficulty, it's okay for you to also feel those feelings and not be okay, and reach out for help, because it's hard. It gets hard, and find those people that will help it just be that much easier.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kayla. And I want to note that we've put in the chat the link to the Parent Support Network. We use a platform called Support Group Central. And when you go to that link, you can sign up for support group parents. So we have different groups for parents of children 16 and under, 16 and older. Sometimes we offer special groups for parents of college age students. We're about to launch a group for grandparents. Shout out to my mom, who's going to be a facilitator. So we really have room for everyone and every voice. I also just want to say something about listening to other people's stories. Sometimes we feel just so alone and so stuck in our own story that it's hard to see beyond that. And I want to thank Randy Silverman for putting her story into a film. If we can put it in the chat, it's called No Letting Go, and it's available for free on Amazon Prime. And for families who have been through a difficult road with their children, sometimes you feel very alone. And Randy put her own story on film, and I know it has impacted so many people who, until they saw the film, felt like it was only them. So that's also what you've all done for us today by telling your stories and putting voice to other people's stories, is you're allowing children and teens and adults to see, oh my gosh, I went to the hospital too. I went through a difficult time too. I can't stand the singing in my house either. You make it real, and you make it all okay. So it's a really sacred act, I want to say, to share your story. Elizabeth, same question. What message do you have for parents? And then we'll move on to our final question of the night.
I would just say, just listen to your children. Like, they may be young, they may be new to life, but they do know themselves best sometimes, you know? And while they may look okay on the outside, if they tell you they are not okay, believe them, trust that they are not okay, and help them. So just like Safo and Kayla said, just be there for your kids, and trust that sometimes they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to themselves and their own emotions and feelings. And let yourself look like vulnerable in front of your children. Don't think you have to be this big, strong rock that's just so stable and doesn't move. It's always strong, has like no feelings. That's not gonna work for anyone. Just let your kids know that you are also a human being. You feel what you're feeling. You understand what you're feeling, and you've been through what you've been going through right now. As a result, you can help them. They can talk to you, because when you start become a human being in front of them, you become like a friend, a person they can rely on, they can talk to, instead of just the person who feeds them and helps them, live life right now.
I love this, Elizabeth. Parents, be a full human to your children and not just the person who feeds them. That's so beautiful. I love a few things you said. Believe your children when they talk about how they feel. How many times do we say to our kids, parents, oh, it's not so bad. No, you don't have to worry so much. Rather than the opposite, opening the conversation, saying, you seem really worried about it. Let's talk about it. Maybe sharing a worry of your own, and you were worried, but it wound up being okay. And here's how you handled it, rather than wanting to squash it. And I'll just refer to my mom one more time here, who once said to me when my children were young, and I was doing things like waving stuffed animals, it's okay. She said, Lori, what I notice is that you just want to protect your children from all pain. And I said, that's it. That's exactly correct. That's my goal as a mom, to prevent pain. And she said, Laura, I love your intent, but it's not going to work. And you need a new strategy. And the new strategy wound up being what these three women have talked about today, being myself and crying when I need to and showing them when things are hard and sitting down and saying, I see you're struggling. What's going on? And sitting with it and being, you have to go through the pain and walk through the pain together rather than prevent it. And so parents, that's what I hear as the overriding message from these three women is feel your feelings and help your kids feel theirs and let them know it's okay. And that's how it really is going to be okay. And our final question for the evening is for people out there who are struggling, young kids, teenagers, and by the way, our world until recently didn't even want to believe that young kids could struggle and young kids could go to the hospital for mental health issues. Doctors would say it's not possible. Oh no, we don't diagnose bipolar till adulthood. Oh no, a kid can't have an anxiety disorder. That is finally changing through efforts of people like Randy Silverman, the Youth Mental Health Project, and some cutting edge research. It is real that mental health begins at birth and probably before, and that we need to take good care of it. And the earlier we can identify a tendency toward disorders and dysregulation, the better we can support kids. So we don't want to wait to diagnose these things. We want to address them very early. So my question is for kids and teens and adults too, who are really struggling right now and are in a very dark place, what messages of hope do you have for them? Because we don't want to sugarcoat. These things are very hard. You know, every person in our film has been through very difficult stuff. It's hard. When you're in those dark places, where do you find hope? And we'll start with Safa, move on to Kayla, and conclude with Elizabeth.
Yeah, I honestly think like give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling. That's been what has helped me the most, because when you try to make yourself not feel what you're feeling, it just gets worse. And if you just give yourself permission to have that day, if you need to take that day off, let yourself have that space and surround yourself with people who support you. And I'm sure people say this all the time, but like everything is temporary. It's not going to last forever. But yeah, just allow yourself to be where you are right now, and that's okay.
Beautiful. Thank you. Kayla.
So I have a couple things, which, sorry, my family is the worst right now. I have a couple things. So I think the first thing I would say about finding, you know, that support and like what to do when you're feeling down, right? Because we all have those things, is find your people. Find the people who lift you up, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, whether it's an animal, whether it's a teacher, but find those people who make those really tough days just a little bit brighter, and tell them that you're not having a good day. Say that it's not okay. Say, I'm having a rough time right now, and normalize saying that you're not okay, and finding the people who will help you through it. And, you know, sometimes you may think it might be hard. Like, what if I don't have those people? What if I don't have it? Write it down. And I said last night, joking around, I said, my DMs are always open. It's fine. But, you know, we have places like.
I asked Kayla, what do you say to a kid who's listening who says, but I don't have people. I haven't found my friends yet. And you had a great answer. You said your DM, and you also said, keep looking for other kinds of communities.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about that. And your
I said, growing up, you know, I was bullied as a kid, and in school, you know, that wasn't really where I found my people. It wasn't working for me there. And I got involved in theater, and I found my people. I found them and I held on to them. And then I went to college and found my people there. So I just think it's really important not to give up. and use your support systems. And a word of encouragement, two things I would say that I live by and have been living by is always believe, whether it's in yourself or in others or just in that moment, that everything's going to be okay. And so now my friends are commenting. I get so distracted.
Kayla's people love her a lot. Oh, good. Elizabeth's back.
But also ride the wave. And I think that goes back to, the emotions. Ride the wave of your emotions. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. It's going to stabilize, but feel it and you'll be okay. I promise you'll be okay.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kayla. And Elizabeth, I'm so glad you're back because you are the final panelist to answer the final question of the night. Tell us a message of hope for people who are in a dark place.
I would say just ask for help. Like, you don't have to fight everything yourself. You have to deal with everything yourself. Let yourself ask for help. Because a big thing that always helped me when I was in a dark place was my guidance counselor. I love Julie. I could always depend on her. I had Zach and Helen, my dorm parents, with me. I have my little sister with me. Let's just what killers let yourself depend on people. Ask for help, and remember the fact that you are going to change so much. So right now in this instance, everything feels really bad. Everything feels really shitty, honestly. And you feel so sunk down under a big burden. But that's not gonna be you forever. You're gonna change so much in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 years, 10 years. And you will look back in a year from now and be like, why did I feel so bad in that time? And be like, it was okay that I felt so bad in that time. And why did I try to fix everything myself? You will not stay the same forever. You will never stay the same forever. Change is the most inevitable thing you ever face in your life. So embrace the change, accept the fact you're going to change, and let that change help you deal with your dark times. Because nothing stays dark forever, and you will never you won't be stuck in that dark hole forever.
It's a beautiful message, and we need each other to get out of those dark places and those holes that we all get in. So the message of tonight is we all have these dark times and these difficult times. We need each other to get through them, and we need to tell our stories so that people don't feel so alone, and so we can model for others what it means to get to a better place. So you're all my heroes. I am so proud of you all. For who you are as people, and also for your bravery in telling your stories, and the time and courage and heart it takes to come forward to participate in a program like this. I do think I'm eyeing the chat. You are modeling what it means to build resilience through difficult times, and to help people know, particularly kids and teens, that even if you're in a dark place, it's not going to be that way forever. Thank you all. I want to remind our audience to please help us continue to give support to youth and families by going to our website, ymhproject.org. That's the Youth Mental Health Project.org. Please also know that we have events like this every single night this week in honor of Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. And we have ongoing programs all the time, including our parent support groups. We're also developing new initiatives to reach out to youth directly. And this is our really first step in that direction. Our mission in the past has been to work with parents to help them access resources. And we also want to help youth access resources themselves. So please share this recording widely. Let young people know that they are not alone and it's okay to talk about mental health. Safwa, Kayla, and Elizabeth, I just want to say I love you, I'm proud of you, and you are an inspiration to all of us. Audience members, thank you so much for being here with us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again at more webinars and learning experiences with the Youth Mental Health Project. Be well, and mental health and wellness to all.